Okay, so we have Jean here who has just completed our 90-day Food to Thrive weight loss program and has gotten some amazing results. One of the first questions I have for you, Jean, is what or how many pounds total did you lose in the 90 days?
I lost over like 20 pounds, which is more than I honestly expected to lose because I've been struggling with weight loss for so long. So I think my total was like 26.
Yes, yes. 20. I was going to say, are you going to answer that question correctly?
Yep.
Yes, 26 pounds in the 90 days. And then how have you also felt since losing the weight?
I feel amazing. I like before like starting this whole thing, I struggled with like chronic fatigue. I've tried like other diets and stuff. I'm a mom of three kids, three toddlers, and like the amount of energy that I have to be able to do stuff, plus I'm going to school on the side while working, like I feel like a whole different person.
Yeah, yeah. Did you have anything like sleep improvements or anything like that? Energy?
Yeah, my sleep I feel is better because before it was like sometimes I would try to go to bed before I started this, and it's like I would just lay awake, and now I feel like I can get up in the morning and I feel rested. Before it was like even though I felt like I was getting 8 hours of sleep, I was still dragging myself out of bed. But now I feel like I'm ready to get out of bed. I can like exercise a little bit, get my family on the go, and I'm out the door. I
Yes.
feel great.
I love that. Especially as another mom, it does get hard to start to actually put yourself as a priority. And so being able to do that and still juggle the normal day-to-days of kids, work, house, is just a huge win for the moms.
Yes.
What other changes did you notice or experience since going through the program? I know a few people were like, I have so much better digestion, things like that. Did you experience other changes besides the weight loss as you went through the program?
I did. So I struggle with like some hormonal issues, which
Mhm.
greatly improved. Like my periods have always such had terrible experiences with those. Those have gotten so much better where I feel like they're manageable. My skin and like my acne has like disappeared through this
Yeah,
process.
yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I feel better. I think I look, better wise and stuff. And I'm like, it's just, I feel like it's all coming together.
Good, great. I love that. I love hearing the other benefits of the program outside of the weight loss. Yeah, the weight loss is great, and I love that. But it's really fun to start to see the other changes that the patients and the clients experience as they go through it. So that's great. I love that. What were some of your difficulties? What were some of the struggles as you went through the program?
Yeah, some difficulties. I think the first, like for sure, week was like the hardest because it's like the detoxing from like the sugar, and I didn't realize like how much my body like relied on it. Do you know what I mean? Like everything that we eat has such sugar in it. I had just some mild headaches, maybe a slight irritability that maybe my husband noticed. But once I kind of got through that first like week and a half, like I started to feel the change then, and then I wasn't craving like the junk food as much.
Right, right. I mean, it's funny because not a lot of people realize how addicted our bodies can be to sugar and what that addiction to sugar actually looks like. And so when you start to eliminate that and you start to realize, wow, my body was solely running on sugar, and then you start to feel the effects of it not running on sugar, it's like this night and day difference. But a lot of people, I don't think people realize in general just how addicting sugar can be, um, and how our bodies just can feed off of that, just like an addiction. So that's great. I love that you were honest about that because it's not like it's going to be just peachy keen. There are things you have to work through, and depending on what your addiction is, whether it be sugar or starches or whatever, you do have to work through changing that, not just the mindset change, but just the body change as well. So that's great. I love that. I love your honesty in that.
Yeah, it took some time, but I did it.
Yes, yes, and you just have to the consistency and sticking with it is so key, and that's, where I get to come in and help encourage you through that. So did you ever feel like it was something you couldn't complete? If so, how long did you did it take to overcome that thought process or that feeling?
I didn't feel like it was something like I couldn't complete because you did such a good job of like helping me tweak things or like helping me find like something that was more manageable. I think like besides getting past that sugar, it was like then, the cooking aspect of how do I make sure I have my healthy meals within the time frame that I need them, but then also I need to feed my kids, which, they eat toddlers, have their toddler food,
Right.
and how do I manage cooking both of these meals for myself? And it was a lot of just like having to be on top of it. So like I food
Right.
prep now at the beginning of the week, not only my meals, and my husband likes to eat the same way now too, because he's been loving the food that I'm cooking.
Yes.
But
Yes.
then prepping a lot of times too, like the separate meals too, maybe for my toddlers, like even though they might try some of the stuff I make, not always eating all of it. So having some of that family friendly toddler food too. So
Right. Right. I know it's amazing when you actually start to introduce your kids to healthier options of foods. Like, I never in a million years thought my kids would actually eat goat cheese, and here they are today requesting goat cheese on their eggs all the time. So that's great. That's
mhm.
good for me. What are your future goals for your health journey?
Mine is to keep going with this because knowing how good I can feel and how much I can do, I need to keep this going for like the rest of my life. And so I still have a little bit more weight to lose is my ultimate goal. But then just like maintaining this and keeping this up and having this amazing lifestyle that I've now created. So,
Right. I love that you said that because that is so true. That's really truly our heart and our passion behind this is beyond the 90 days, really taking what you've learned through the program, not just applying it, but applying it beyond the 90 days, truly making this a lifestyle change that you can start to live out and not just for your health, but being that example to your kids. Like this is how you should be fueling your body to make sure you don't have these future health issues down the line. And I love that it's almost like without sounding cliche, it is a legacy that you get to leave to your kids, like especially in the world that we live in with the fast food and the junk food and all the sugar, teaching our kids at a young age how to eat and fuel their body is to me one of the biggest benefits of what we do in our program. And I love that. So I love that you said that because I love when patients are like, I know that I can live this outside of the 90 days and I can continue to apply this to my everyday life. So that's great. What was your biggest takeaway from the program?
my biggest takeaway, I think, from the program was just seeing, like, as I kept losing the weight and my confidence growing, of like, because like I said, I've struggled with this for years. And the doctors just being like, well, you're tired because you're a mom. Like, what do you expect? It's hard to lose weight. You've had kids. And it's always just felt like, I guess this is my life now. Like, I guess this is how I'm going to be and this is how I'm going to feel. And, just knowing I don't have to be like that.
Right.
I can do it. And then all the things I can do on top of it, like, I'm getting into biking and I feel really good. My kids and we've gotten into hiking together and exploring the outdoors and giving these all new experiences that
Right.
I just before didn't have the energy for.
Right. Right. And that's really something that actually that's great because that actually parlays into my final question. But just how this has changed your life and your health moving forward. Like what has this done for you and your family moving forward in your health journey?
Yeah, it makes me feel like I have the energy to do the things that I want to get done throughout the day. Before I was really like dragging myself. I'm learning to take time for myself. That mom guilt for a long time of like, I can't take that, 30-minute bike ride. I just don't have time. Like I need to do the laundry. I need to clean. And it's okay that I take that time for myself so that I can
Right.
be a better person later.
No, and that's great too because so many people, I know a lot of people are the people that are going through and kind of finishing up their 90 days are actually like, hey, I actually have energy to exercise now because the program doesn't entail any exercise. And they're like, I know a lot of people at the beginning were like, "Oh, do I have to exercise? I really don't want to exercise." It's the program's solely nutritional, but as you go through it, you're like, "Wow, I have energy to actually exercise." And as a mom, and I was a former athlete, I was always like, "Oh, I've done my fair share of exercise. I don't want to keep exercising to try to get healthy or lose weight." And not saying that exercise isn't a part of that, but all of the program in that 90 days is solely nutritional. So when you start to change that, you have the energy and the endurance to actually exercise, and you get excited about that versus like, "Oh, I got to exercise to lose weight." You've lost that weight. Now you have the energy and the endurance to actually start to incorporate exercise into your health. So I love that you're doing that, and that you're doing that with your kids as well.
Mhm.
That's great. Is there anything else you'd want to add or share to anybody watching about the program, or anything you want to share that you experienced for people watching?
Yeah, and just for like those people, like, for me when I was struggling and just like looking for something like, is this going to work? Is this like a, fad thing? Like it
Right.
works and you can do it, and it's okay if you have little pitfalls along the way because it happens to all of us, but just being consistent and by chipping away, like people can make it work for them. And you guys have been great of helping us tweak or giving us little ideas of how we can still do all the things we want to do, but make it
Right.
work for us.
And make it fit into life, because life happens, right? There's parties, there's vacations, and that happens. It's just, how do you prepare for that? And then how do you come back after that? And it's great because it's very much tailored to everyday life. It's not something where, you've got to get in your shake, or you've got to get in your bar, your nutritional bar. It's using foods that you can go on a vacation and not have to worry about, well, I've got to bring my shakes and I got to bring my bars. You can eat the foods there. It's teaching you how to eat those foods within what time frames and with what intake. So that's the one thing that we were really passionate about. We want to make this something that's conducive to everybody in every season of life, right? It not just like, oh, you've got to stick with these shakes in this window, and you've got to, bring these all over to any vacations or parties. And who wants to go to a party and have to bring their shake to eat or drink, or, a bunch of bars to drink? It's really teaching you, okay, what foods can you have? How do those foods affect you? And how can you actually live this life outside of the four walls of your home, and still live, right?
Mhm.
That was always my thing. I don't want to just go and not partake in different events and things like that. But it teaches you how to do that, how to have those vacation meals or those celebratory meals, but still come back and continue after or before those events. So I love that. Well, Jean, I just appreciate you coming on, sharing your testimony, sharing your experience. And I'm just excited to see you continue to take this and reach more health goals for you, and then continue this on with your family. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey on the program and everything that you've experienced. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome. Great job, Jean. Thank you.
Yep, bye.